Hey, partners. So, as some of you know, my mom had an emergency brain surgery a few weeks ago, and it was as scary and traumatizing as it sounds, right? But I learned so many lessons from this that is literally going to change the way I see life, the way I run my business, the way I parent, everything. So, my mom has a tendency to always give to others and sacrifice herself. I have been telling her for years to really think about how she wanted to live this season of her life, to move out on her own, to think about herself and herself alone. She has earned the stripes to be able to, I won't say be selfish, but be selfish and only think about herself. And I've literally spent probably about 25 to 27 years with this same message. And it's because she is always over giving to others and being disappointed when they no longer or even at all feed into her. It had gotten to the point, I'll never forget this. I was in my 20s. As some of you know who are familiar with my work, I'm a personal finance coach, I'm a financial educator, and I made a lot of mistakes, especially in the first 20s. And I remember telling her I had like effed up, as I often do. Often did, I should say, back then with some financial information, and she was stressing out trying to figure this out together. And I was like, yo, like fall back. I'm gonna need you to relax. I don't want you to adopt on my mistakes and make this our problem. In order for me to figure this out and make sure I don't get back into this again, I'm gonna have to work through this myself. I appreciate you, I love you, but I got this. I don't know if I should have stressed I had this particular situation, because she certainly made sure to tell me that I got it in the future too when I was coming to her with other stuff. But that's just to show you like the type of woman that she is. And some of you may be familiar with my mama in your own family. You may even be my mama, especially when it comes to your children, your grandbabies, your siblings. You are always the one putting out and no one's pouring into you. And so I always wanted to make sure that when I was in her presence, when I was around her, when I called her, I was the person she vented to. I was the person who made her laugh. I was the person who spoiled her and made her happy. And I tried to like not bring any heavy topics towards her or to her, because I just wanted her to have that exhale with me. Because I knew the rest of her life was always worried about somebody else who honestly would have fared better had she failed back as well. But she adopted this as like her ultimate responsibility. And so after these 25, 27 years, she finally moved into her apartment that she's been talking about forever. It's a senior citizen building, bomb. I mean, it's gorgeous. And we were so excited and so happy. And I want you to guess how long she had an opportunity to enjoy this moment before she was rushed to the hospital and ended up having emergency brain surgery. I just want you to guess, because I was just like, are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me? But one of the things that I learned is how important it is to just think about yourself. People often say, Nativa, you moved over, what they call me TT, you moved away from your mom to Chicago. You've been gone a long time. Have you thought about coming back? And I was like, well, no, my peace is where I'm at. Like my peace of mind, my strength, all of that is this over here, because this is how I want to live my life. This is what I want to go for. And so they're like, you selfish. It is totally 100% okay for you to prioritize your self-care. Other people may not understand it. They may call you selfish. They may call you whatever type of names. But if there was anything else I learned through this whole experience, is that we are not promised tomorrow. And a lot of people think like passing over is when I say this, but it is such a privileged and entitled way of thinking that you're going to be in the same level of health that you are right here, right now, in this moment. The amount of people that I've seen in the hospital range from like late 30s to like 70s. who were getting this surgery, who had had strokes, who had had heart problems, who were getting physical therapy and were in rehab, whose the trajectory of their entire life had changed. And I spoke to, I'll never forget this, I spoke to two people, but one of them in particular, she had a daughter come by once. And this was a daughter that lived with her. This is the daughter that she babysat for. This was the daughter that she did everything for. And she only visited her once. My sister and I, and I'm going to be honest, we don't have the best relationship, but my sister is there, okay? She's the one that lives in the state with her. And we were there every single day, to the point where the nurses and the doctors are like, wow, like this is so good. We don't see that too often. And I thought, how effing sad. How sad when you have great parents. I'm only assuming, but the one that I saw whose daughter did come up there, you know, raved about her mom, but you can't even come up there more than once a freaking week. I was up there for almost a month. We were there every single day. Morning shift, she took night shift. We both were on a day shift. We were making sure to keep her spirits up. We were, you know, playing, we call them kingdom melodies. That's a part of her religion. We were, but I looked at this other young lady and she only had one visit. Once? Are you kidding me? This is why it's so important, especially because the audience I serve are over 30, 35. So we really have to come to the point where once we raise these kids, we are not living for these kids. If we have siblings that are taking from us, children, grandchildren, we really have to think about life separate from giving to others and for ourselves. Not because they may not be there when we get older, but for the simple fact that if anything happens, you want to make sure that you have lived, that you have truly lived. One of the things that I always talk about in my business and when I do my courses or my coaching programs or workshops or anything is living your dream life, living a life of purpose and all of that. But I'm like scratching that. I want to live a fulfilled life. I want every aspect to just fill me the hell up. I refuse to get to the point where I am sick, when I am on my deathbed, when I can no longer walk, when I have nothing that I have not experienced and tasted every single part of life. And I'm telling you, I've often heard people say, live for today, right? And I just think, well, I mean, you got to live for the future too, but life is so uncertain. Like you really don't know what the hell is coming up on you. And so it's truly important that you are living the life today that you ultimately desire, that you truly desire, like with everything in you. And if there's things preventing you from doing so, like of course I'm in personal finance, that's a huge barrier. So whether it's credit, whether it's debt, whether it's income, etc., that you find a way to make that happen. And it may not look exactly like you want it to. It may not look that way in your career. It may not look the way that you thought it would look in your relationships. It may not look the way that you thought it would look in your parenting. But dang it, get there. Get there. Get to that personal fulfillment where you pursuing your passions, you're pursuing your dreams, you're pursuing your wants, because not only is life itself uncertain as far as we don't know when something's going to happen. You get hit by a car. We always go to the extremes. But what about when you get sick? What about when you can no longer travel? What about when you can no longer work? What about life as you know it suddenly changed and you're no longer able to walk, or you're just no longer have that energy? There's like so many illnesses that happen right now, and we really got to think about not being privileged into thinking that exactly the health that you're in today, the experiences that you're doing today, that it's not gonna be the last. But one of the things that I liked about a conversation that I had with one of the patients there, somebody's grandmama and mama, but she mentioned legacy and impact. And so I was saying, like, you know, I love my family, but it's certain family members leave you a bit toxic. Okay, it can be it doesn't feed you, right? And so you can give to others and leave behind love and sacrifice and different lives that you touch, but you can't do that to the detriment of your own passions, your own goals, your own dreams, you also have to be an example what it is to live a life that also includes that love, that sacrifice, that giving, but also includes the other side of you recognizing and pursuing your own dreams, recognizing and pursuing your own loves, recognizing and pursuing your own passions, living life, tasting life, and doing things that speak to you authentically, doing things that fill you up. I want a fulfilled life. Yeah, I've heard of rich life and dream life and all of that stuff, but I want to be fulfilled, and I want balance between giving and receiving and living and all of that. But ultimately, I also thought about my health because, as most of you know, I moved internationally. So I spent a great deal of time between the U.S. and Mexico and other countries that we visit as well, because I wanted to have an opportunity to have my children experience living abroad in different cultures and all of that good stuff. So I'm blessed to be able to do that. But I have not been paying attention to my health, and it was nothing like seeing people my age not being able to walk, having to get rehab, having a stroke, having a heart attack, and just the stress that they're having on their lives, not eating right, working all their lives, okay, and then get to the point where they are about to finally see something come to fruition or about to retire. That's one of the people that I met, and then this happened. Can you imagine working for 30 something years, 40 something years, and literally, I think it was like 3 months before they were set to retire, now you're on life support, now you're passing on. Now that I was just like, oh my gosh, it was just, it was a lot. So earlier I asked you to guess how long she had in her apartment before she was rushed to the hospital, right? She wasn't even either in there 24 hours. She didn't even get to sleep in her place overnight. She didn't even get an opportunity to wake up and experience her shower and go down to the cafeteria restaurant that they have down there. They serve them all of their meals. She didn't even get a chance to do that. She didn't get a chance to go into the library or the computer room or anything like that, or even just to exhale in her own place. And we decorated it so bomb for her. I gave her one of my favorite paintings. She didn't even get a chance to like dwell in that before she was rushed into the hospital. It was just like,